I'm Chris Cuomo. He was a preacher who could not resist temptation, caught between two women, the one he married and the one he desired. So when his wife was found dead in their locked bedroom, her suspicious relatives vowed to find out the truth. As Jim Avila first reported in 2010, was it suicide or murder?
With all your heart, with all your soul.
A favorite son in Waco, Texas.
That you may fear the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I...
The Baptist preacher with a doting congregation. And a beautiful family.
If you know our children, not just my wife, Carrie, and it's special for me.
Matt Baker, front and center at the pulpit every Sunday in the heart of the Bible Belt.
It was 911. Do you have an emergency?
Yes, I think my wife just committed suicide.
Pastor Baker never imagined himself in this life-changing moment, pounding his wife's chest in the middle of the night, on the phone to 911, and reading a suicide note out of the corner of his eye.
Tell me exactly what happened. My wife is laying in the bed, and her lips are blue, are cold, and there's a note that says "I'm sorry," basically. Is she conscious? No, she's not. No, she's not breathing at all. No pulse or anything.
She was not moving, no response, and I shake her, I call her name, and wow, what do I do? And I put my head to her chest and didn't see or feel her chest rising, no air coming out, felt for pulse, nothing. I get her dressed as I'm on the phone.
Did you see what happened to her? No, I do not know.
The sweet life for Pastor Baker and his 31-year-old wife, Carrie, had come to a sudden stop. The college sweethearts who married within months of their first hellos, both educated at Baylor University, cornerstone of Baptist education, and raising a family bathed in piety and love. The perfect couple from day one.
It was almost an immediate attraction. We liked each other, we fell in love with each other.
Carrie's family thought it all happened too fast, but were reassured by their daughter that Matt was a good man, and being a preacher in Bible-thumping country certainly helped.
It was a whirlwind romance.
Carrie's mother, Linda Doolin.
We tried to talk Carrie into waiting a little longer, and she really did not want to.
So Carrie Baker's Aunt Nancy says the family went along with the rapid-fire romance. After all,
she was marrying a Baptist minister. How good is that?
Matt and Carrie's life together looked so promising until, without warning, on that spring night, the preacher's wife brought it all to an abrupt end, snuffing out the storybook romance, say authorities, with a couple of wine coolers and a bottle of sleeping pills.
Oh, she's got foam or something coming out of her nose. Okay, someone's at the front door. I gotta go.
Those moments stay in your mind. You can't get them out.
A loving husband with big blue eyes and a prominent position. Carrie had it all, including a rewarding career of her own.
Wow!
As a devoted mother and elementary school teacher.
She was always the bubbly little blonde. Cheerleader, mascot in high school, loved athletics, loved life. People were drawn to Carrie, always.
So why would a perfectly healthy mother of two leave a typed, unsigned suicide note professing love for her children, her parents, and her husband, say she is sorry, and then take her own life?
She didn't come at me and say, "Matt, I'm going to kill myself."
But Matt says there were clues that his beautiful wife was in a downward spiral. It began, he says, with one monumental tragedy.
I love you.
The loss of their second daughter, a little girl who lit up their world. Her name was Cassidy, and she struggled mightily for life. Struck by a brain tumor at a year old, taken from her parents just 4 months later. And everyone agrees her death drove her mother, Carrie, to bouts of terrible grief.
I didn't think she was depressed. I thought it was just a deep sadness.
She had a hole in her heart. It was horrible. She made it through her faith. Her faith was a very big part.
But Matt says Carrie never really made it entirely through the grief, and says her treasured leather-bound Bible, a gift from Matt, is filled with clues to how deep the sadness was. In the margins, around some of her favorite scriptures, evidence, says Matt, that Carrie was hiding dark thoughts of ending her earthly life in favor of a heavenly one with the daughter she lost 7 years before.
There's one in 2 Samuel where David loses his firstborn child, and she writes on the bottom, "Cassidy, I will go to her."
And what does this tell you?
She could never let go of Cassidy. It was such a strong hold on her.
Carrie did go to a grief counselor for a year. Matt claims she began seeing a therapist again the week of her death, and to a doctor complaining of stress and anxiety. Matt says her once close relationship with their 2 daughters suffered as Carrie, he says, pulled away.
There was constantly that in her voice and in her prayers and in our conversations that, what if? I lost one, what if we lose another one? I can't handle that.
The night she died, Matt told investigators about Carrie's depression. They quickly decided that suicide made sense. But almost immediately, some of those closest to Carrie, like her cousin Lindsay Pick, who showed up at the Baker house in her pajamas while police were still on the scene, could not comprehend how the doting mom could leave her kids. They believed suicide was not in Carrie's character. She had other children, including a daughter born just a year and a half after Cassidy died.
She would have never, ever left her children.
And with that, the women who knew Carrie best, her cousin and aunts, decided they would not accept that suicide ruling.
This just came out of nowhere. There's no way Carrie would have done this. We knew she did not take her own life.
Don't mess with our family. Don't mess with us. We will fight for the truth.
Her family decided they would fight by launching their own investigation, hiring experts, and pushing so hard, friends began to call them the Charlie's Angels of Waco, Texas.
Linda finally said, "I need my angels over here so we can talk."
When we return, Charlie's Angels get the results the police had not even thought to look for.
When was the aha moment for you?
When I saw the phone calls to Vanessa Bowles.
The Avenging Angels uncover the other woman and the secret life of Waco's Golden Boy minister. We'll be right back.
Matt Baker has lost his wife to a sudden, surprising suicide, but he seems to be recovering quite well. Once again, here's Jim Avalon.
These photos were taken just 2 weeks after Carrie Baker was buried. It's Matt and Carrie's oldest daughter's 10th birthday, and celebrating it right beside Matt is the new woman in his life. That's him with his arm around her in this picture. Carrie's family says within days, Matt had replaced Carrie with Vanessa Bowles.
So I just decided to just go over there and knock on the door.
Carrie's cousin Lindsay and her sister Andy surprised Matt with a visit one day in the weeks after her death.
We noticed there weren't any pictures of Carrie up in the house at all. The only picture we saw in the house was of Vanessa and the girls on the refrigerator.
But Carrie's mother Linda just wanted everyone to let it go and grieve. But then a revelation comes in the mail. A simple cell phone bill changes everything. What jumps off the page to Linda Doolin is that Carrie is dead, but her cell phone lives on. It's in the hands of a new woman, and Matt is on the phone with her constantly.
Matt had given Carrie's cell phone to someone, and I immediately figured out it was Vanessa Bowles because her number was on there. And what that told me was something wasn't right. Matt's story wasn't right.
We're here to help Matthew Baker today.
So while Matt Baker was receiving the sympathy of his community, the innocent victim of now 2 tragedies, an infant daughter who died in her crib after a serious illness, and his wife who committed suicide, the Charlie's Angels are building a case that this preacher is not the innocent most people thought him to be. Exhibit A, this woman, once a classmate of Matt Baker.
I was afraid of him. I was angry with him.